right, good morning, everyone. It's your boy Rome. I tried to go live last night, but something went wrong. I was attempting to go live from my um, site, my Facebook page, but it did not work out as I planned. So I decided to go ahead and do this morning. Hopefully, some of you guys will participate. If not, I do understand everyone's probably at work. But I wanted to go ahead and experiment with this and make sure I could get this right this time. I don't do a lot of lives, but I want to start doing this on a regular basis. If you guys see in the notes above, I have created a new group that for those of you who are interested in learning photography or learning the basics of retouching, especially your own photos, maybe for your family or yourself or your social media, something like that, I've created a group that I will be posting a lot of these tutorials in that group. And I also invite others to, especially those with skills, to participate by helping out the community and as well as the community posting what they create. So that's where we're going to be going forward. All right, guys. So one of the panels that I talked to you guys about before is this retouch panel by Retouch Zone. And I've been using it pretty much for the last, I don't know, month or two or so. And I use a lot of different things, it just depends on the photo that I'm working on. But if I only had one panel, this would probably be one of the top three that I would choose because it gives me a lot of flexibility when it comes to speeding up my workflow. Almost everything I need is right here in this one panel. So if I'm going to just say retouch, then you have face, then you have clothing fix, you have some special effects, you have split toning and some color filters here that you can utilize. And then you have your finishing panel, for your background, contrast, to save your photo, details, grain, things like that. But it all depends on, how your workflow flows as to which of these sub panels you would actually utilize. Now, if you're in Photoshop and you're starting out in Photoshop, or even if you're an experienced Photoshop user, honestly, all these panels do is activate things that are already present or the abilities to do the things that Photoshop could already do. It just speeds up the workflow. And, if you're editing one photo, 5 photos, it's probably not that big of a deal. But if you're editing a wedding or a corporate event or something along those lines, that's tremendous. So it just depends on, what it is that you're trying to achieve. Now, I will honestly say this is not a panel that you could easily use for batching a large group of photos. So like if you got, 200 photos and you're trying to make them all look exactly the same, that's not going to work. And, I'll explain why as we go through one of the photos that I'm going to edit here. So let me bring this photo in really quick. And this is a raw image. It is 24 megabytes. I'm sorry, megabytes. But I'm going to enlarge the image. So to give you guys an idea of what I'm working with right now, I'm on a M1 Mac. I have beta software that I'm running on my MacBook, as well as I'm running this beta software on my iPad. So I'm recording this with ScreenFlow, as well as broadcasting this live to Facebook. And I'm doing all this at the same time on this M1 MacBook Air. Not a MacBook Pro, but a MacBook Air. So it kind of gives you an idea of what these new Macs can actually do. But remember, I am running beta software, so there may be some things that happens. Who knows? So I'm going to go in here and enhance this image. And if I look at it, and you start to see the details. So let's see what the end result is for the enhanced image. And as you see down here, it's processing it. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. It shouldn't take very long because usually this is pretty quick. Okay, so the original image is 24 megabytes. The enhanced image is 96 megabytes. So that's the one we're going to work with. You don't have to do this. I'm just using this as an example to show you how this workflow can work for you, as well as how well the M1 Macs are working right now. So I'm going to go ahead and open this image. And there we go. Okay. So usually the first thing I do with any image is I start to survey the image to look at exactly what do I need to correct. I see some flyaway hairs. I see, I mean, she has really curly hair, so I'm not going to go in here and remove all of these flyaways that are, all over the place here for this type of image. If this was going to be used for a profile photo or for even, a comp card, you really don't have to do all of that editing, because many times the agencies want to see what a model really looks like. Now, if this was for, a fashion campaign or something like that, then yeah, you may have to go in and remove all of these flyaway hairs. But generally on the day of the shoot, I'm, a stickler about, working with my makeup artist and my hairstylist. And, I shoot tethered. So the minute I see something that doesn't look right, I'm going to have them go in and correct it, so that it will speed up my workflow, in the future. Now, to be honest, and most photographers probably won't say this, but it's true. If you're working with an agency or you're working with a large fashion brand, you're not going to do the retouching yourself. You're going to do the photography, and then the retouching is going to be farmed out to someone else. Now, there are some photography studios that have really good retouching in-house, and they'll get that position, that job as well. But usually it's going to be sent out to someone else to do the retouching. And then those images then go back to the director or the fashion agency or whatever it is. And then that's what they're going to use for print or their web or whatever. So the photography side of it, you're just capturing the image. But for almost everything else, you will be doing your own retouching to some degree. Now, a lot of what you may see me use this panel for, you won't be doing these things, okay? Because it is what it is. So for right now, I'm going to close this panel, and I'm just going to open my layers. And the first thing I usually do is I create a duplicate layer. On a Mac, that's going to be Command J. I think it's Control J on a PC. So first thing I would do is I would go in and I would start to remove some of these little flyaway hairs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the spot healing brush, and I'm going to make, with my brackets, just a little bit larger than this hair. And I'm just going to drag along that hair, and I'm just going to start to remove it. I did see my first little glitch there. So I don't know, I have 16 gig of RAM on this MacBook Air. It's at the maximum of RAM for this unit. Most of them come with 8. One day I will tell you guys the story of all the stuff I went through with Apple when I returned my original 8 gig and had to replace it. It was a nightmare. But at the end of it, they got it done. So as you see here, all I'm doing is I'm identifying these little pimples, and I'm just kind of drawing over them. Now, usually when I do this, if I'm not broadcasting or something like that, I will use my iPad like a Wacom tablet, and I will do a screen, well, basically I'll do a sidecar, of, my screen. Then that allows me to use my Apple Pencil, so I can really get in here close and, find all these little details. And I'm using a pen versus right now I'm just using the pad that's on the MacBook. But I can still get it done. If you already have a tablet, use it. If you don't, I don't think, in most cases, it's worth investing, $1,000 to get, or more, to get an iPad just for this reason. Now, if you have other reasons, see, there goes my phone. If you have other reasons for using it, then, go for it by all means, So all I'm doing here is I'm just going to do this really quick. You know, usually I would go in really, really detailed, and I would zoom in and I would look at a lot of the finer details. But if you're micro dodging and burning, we'll discuss that in another video. But if you're micro dodging and burning, then you would go in and look at these really, really close and, you know, dodge or burn. But if you're just trying to remove the larger imperfections that you see, then, you know, this is more than enough. And actually, I'm way too close, zoomed in for, you know, what I'm working on right now, because you really don't need to be this zoomed in, you know, to fix this stuff. But like these little hairs here, if you want to be a perfectionist, you can go in and kind of clean that up. Now, when you get to your frequency separation, you can still do more of this on your texture layer. I usually just start here. And like I said, I look for all the, like, see right now I'm seeing little things that I would not see if I wasn't this zoomed in. So this is probably not something that most will do. But since I'm already this zoomed in, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the eyes. So I'm going to try and remove as many of the veins as I can. When I get to the eye whitening, it'll just make it that much easier to whiten the eyes, and they stay somewhat natural. Try not to remove your catch lights. When you see catch lights in the eyes, that shows, you know, life in the model or the individual. So try and, you know, remain, you know, keep that as much as possible. Don't remove your catch lights out of your eyes. I remember a long time ago when I first started in photography, and I would see catch lights in people's eyes, and I was like, oh my God, you know, why can't they correct that? Why would they have that in the person's eyes? Not knowing back then, you know, many, many moons ago, that that's one of the things that helps show the person, you know, in 3 dimensions. It shows their health, their life, you know, that they're alive, you know, their eyes are bright. So now you can also, if you're going to be replacing your eyelashes, you know, this would be the time to go in and just go ahead and clone out your eyelashes, but I won't be doing that in this video. I'm going to get these last few ones and then we're going to move on, okay? I don't see anything big with the lips. There's a couple of lines, but that's not that big of a deal. So we're going to go ahead and zoom back out. Now, there are some imperfections on her skin. I could touch those up really quick. Get that about right there. I can just go in and, you know, hit those really, really fast, just so you guys get an idea. This doesn't take a long time, but like I said, if you're doing, you know, 50 photos, this is going to be some work. So this is going to be your retouching. That means this is after they have made their selections and said, okay, these are the photos that we want to go with, and these are the ones that we want to be retouched. You wouldn't do this for every photo that you're going to be presenting to a client, because it wouldn't make any sense. And it would take you forever. You would never, ever be able to really be efficient as a photographer, because honestly, all of your time would be devoted to retouching the images. So I would say that is definitely not a good idea. So don't go down that rabbit hole. I've been there, you know, trying to clean up every image, you know, before the client would see it. Trust me, it doesn't work. And 90% of the time, they know that there's still editing that has to be done. So they're just picking poses and outfits and, you know, things along that line. So as long as they're happy with that part, then you can get the rest done, right? All right, so I'm not going to waste any more time with this. I think I've gotten pretty much everything. No, there's a couple more. Now, usually, like I said, you know, frequency separation will get some of this, but it's up to you guys. So you see right here, the tab from her outfit is here, right? So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these little lines on her arms as best I can. And then I'm going to see if I can use the same tool to remove this. If I can't, I'll just clone it out. We'll see how close we get. Now, this doesn't always work, but so far we're doing pretty good. So It's not going to be perfect, but we got rid of it. And remember, I'm way, way zoomed in. So if we go back to a full-size image, you definitely would not see that, right? So let's go ahead and zoom back in a little bit. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back over to our panel. And what a lot of people would do if they're doing this the easy route is they would just pick where it says easy here. And what this will do is it will generate a number of layers, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if you click on easy, it's going to generate a number of different layers, and then those layers will help you basically blur the skin. Now, if all you're looking for is basically, blurry skin or that refined look, this might work for you. This usually does not take this long, so that means that this system is really taxed with all the other stuff that's running in the background. But hopefully, nothing will crash and we'll still get to see. So obviously in the video, I'll speed this up. But for those who are watching this live, you're seeing in real time how long this is taking for this to process. So, and I don't know if this is something related to the beta software and I really believe that's probably what it is, because generally before I install this beta software, this was relatively quick. This did not take much time, but at the same time, I wasn't doing all these other things in the background at the same time. So, take that with a grain of salt. So let's see where we are. Still processing. Oh, I know what it is. Remember I enhanced this image? So I made this image much larger than it is. So if you look down here, this image is over a gig as far as Photoshop is concerned. Right now, this document is showing, what is it showing here? I can't click on it, but it's showing 553 megabytes for the size of this one image. So that's what is taking so long, is because this image is massive. Usually you would not have a document this large opened in Photoshop. So, who knows? It's getting there. We shall see. Yeah, this is taking a while. Okay, there we go. Finally. So let's go down here real quick and look at the size of our image. So if we look here at document size, you can look at the dimensions, you can measurements, you can look at all the different things related to your document right down here in your little pop-out tab. But right now, you can see down here, this is 1.6 gigabytes for the size of this image. Okay, so starting off, you would go to your brush. You would make sure that you've chosen a round, soft brush. So you would go into your general brushes and just choose a round, soft brush. You can determine what the size is. You can increase the diameter of the brush. You can increase the softness of the brush. If you hold Control-Alt, and you can swipe in and up. So you can swipe across, which will increase the size of the brush. Or you can swipe up or down, which will increase the softness or the hardness of the brush. Okay? So we want it to be soft. And just to check, you go back up here, you see size, but hardness is at 0, and that's where you want it to be for the most part. Okay, so we're going to zoom out a little bit, and we're just going to start painting in on her skin. So this layer mask is black, so your color needs to be here white, so that you're painting onto the black mask. Remember, black conceals and white reveals as far as these masks are concerned. So we're just going to start painting in here. And right now, this is at 100%. So we're just going to start painting away. And you can see already how it's softening her skin. I think way too much. I'm going to close this tab so you guys can see a little better. But it's definitely there. Now, if you really want to speed this up, one of the things that I do sometimes is I just go with a large brush and I just paint everything. Okay? Skin, face, eyes, mouth, everything. I'm going to do her whole body. We're just going to speed this up, right? And the reason why is that we can go back and adjust this as we need to afterwards. So right now, we just want to get it cover. We just want the coverage. And you should be resizing your brush, which I'm not doing right now. I'm just kind of painting all over the place like a mad person. But you get the idea. So all in here. And you can kind of start to see, you know, the areas that you've missed because they'll show up pretty well. Okay. So I painted over her entire body. That's a lot. But what I can do here is go into the layer mask and I can click on it, option, click on it, and I can see, and zoom out a little bit, I can see where I painted and where I've missed. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in real quick. So if you see in some of my videos, you see this mask and you're like, okay, what is he painting on? What is that black thing that he's, you know, black and white thing he's doing? That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just painting in this mask. I'm just filling it in. Now, I'm not going to go all the way with it, but, you know, you kind of get the idea. So I'm just going to fill this in real quick so we can kind of get an idea of where everything is. Just speed it up. All right, that's close enough, all right? So then again, you go back to that layer, option click on it, and it'll go back to normal. Now, what you want to do to finish this, if you're going to use this easy approach, is that you would switch now to black. So right here, you can switch back and forth, black and white. So now you're going to switch back to black, and you can do that on your keyboard by just hitting X, go back and forth. And then you're going to zoom in. But before we zoom in, before we start painting away, what we want to do is we want to look at our opacity and bring that down to where it looks somewhat normal. Okay, so that's pretty good. I say about 49. Doesn't look too bad. It looks like really good makeup. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to decrease the size of our brush. We're still using that soft round brush, but then we're going to start going in here. We're going to paint in with black, and we're going to bring back all the detail to the teeth, the lips, the eyes, especially the eyes and like the eyelashes, because these are the parts of the face you don't want to be blurry. And I usually go up into the makeup a little bit just so that, you know, if the makeup artist has done something with the makeup, you know, you still see the texture from the makeup and things like that. I'll bring that back. And then I'll go through the eyebrows, make sure they're sharp. And then, so you see where these little flyaway hairs are here? I would just kind of leave that just a little bit blurrier, you know, just so it doesn't, a person doesn't pay that much attention to it. Okay. So let's zoom out. And then we're going to do a before and after, so I guess we need to zoom back in a little bit. I'm going to close this panel for now. And we're going to look at our before and after, before, after. So let's get in a little bit closer. Look at her skin. Before, you can still see all of the imperfections in her skin. And then after, you see it softens everything up. Now, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close to something you would do for a client. If you're working with, you know, just portraits for someone, you know, you could go this route. And then maybe finishing up, you could do a little bit of dodging and burning, you know, just to bring in some of the details where everything is softened up a little bit. But that's up to you. So anyway, that's how you would use the easy part of this panel. I usually don't use the easy. I usually do frequency separation and then texture if I need it. Skin tone, I'll do some dodging and burning. I'll do the skin glow, which, you know, basically just lightens up the skin a little bit. So if we apply the skin glow to this one real quick, as an example, Remember, the mask is black, so this needs to be white. So let's enlarge our brush. That's a little big, but I want you guys to be able to see this because we are doing this live. So if I start painting in some of the darker areas, I wouldn't do her whole face because I see there's some areas where it's a little bit darker and a little bit redder than others. So I would just go in different areas just to lighten them up just a touch. So you're kind of evening it out. It doesn't have to be everywhere. Now, I don't think that's the actual purpose for the skin glow. It's just how I use it. So, each, creative is going to use things in their own way, just like brushes, so that's how I would use it. So if we shut these all down, it's before, after, just a slight glow, so if you zoom in close to her forehead, you can really see it. I don't know how well this is showing on Facebook, but let's see here. Yeah, okay. So if this is all you want to do, easily enough, shift, group all of your layers together, then Command G, make it a group, we'll call it, we'll just call this one skin. And if that's all you want, then you're good to go. And that might be perfect for your workflow, that you can do something really, really fast like that. So if you guys are not into or have not learned frequency separation, I think that's something we'll save for another video. We'll go into a lot of detail with that, but we're going to move really fast. So we're going to go now. We've already done the easy approach to this. So we're going to go to the next thing, which would be eyes. So you have a few choices here. You can do the iris. You can do eye whitening. You can color. You can do... So if I just clicked on color, so I could change the color of her eyes, well, which I don't want to do, so I'm just going to remove that whole group. But I do want to whiten her eyes, so I'm going to click on whiten eyes. Again, our mask is black. We need to be painting with white. And I'm going to make this brush a little bit smaller. I'm just going to go in here and paint this area in white. As you notice, that's very, very white, and that's more than any human's eye would look, but that's fine because we're just going to lower the opacity. So I'm going to speed this up and go in here. And then you would go up here to your opacity and just bring it down so that it looks normal. That's still a little bright for me on that side. There we go. So let's just say that looks relatively normal. So that's before, that's after. Just adding a little bit of light to the eyes. And you can do basically the same thing with the teeth. Sometimes I use the same approach for the eyes and the teeth. The only problem with that is if you adjust one, you're adjusting the other. So, sometimes that may not be a good idea. So then if you were going to remove veins, we can still do that because I still see some redness in her eyes. So we're going to go ahead and run this and see what we get. Again, in the future, I will not enhance the images so that they wind up being this big, but I did it this time, so we're going to have to live with it. So just zoom in here to her teeth. Oops, I'm sorry, to the eyes. And you see there's still some redness in there. So now we're just going to take our brush. We're going to make it really small. And we're just going to go in and look for the red areas. We're just going to try and paint those out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to clean this up a little bit. There we go. That's nice. So we turn all of them off. And see the redness in the eyes? And then without it. Not bad at all. And then, like I said, you can darken the pupil. You can play with the reflections in the eyes. That's going to be some of the shininess in here. There's some final touch stuff that you can do for the eyes. You have to kind of experiment with these and play with them. Then if we go to mouth and teeth, So the only thing we would want to do here is going to be teeth whitening. So we're going to run that script real quick. Again, black mask, white 4 here. Here's our brush. Make it a little bit larger, and we're just going to go in and just start painting away. And like I said, this is going to be way too much. I'm speeding this up just for the sake of the video. See, I went on her lip. So I could either remove everything or just, switch my brush back to black real quick and then continue on. Get it all in there. Perfect. Now, teeth should not be perfectly white. I mean, I've seen them in some posters and things that people are posting now, and I see it in print. And no one naturally are going to have teeth that are that ridiculously white like this tab is here. That's just crazy. But, you're going to get people who want that, so be prepared to do it. So we're going to zoom out. And see, even there, to me, that looks just a little too bright for the teeth. So I'm going to bring those down a little bit more. Yeah. That works. So the next thing, the only thing left, if you're going to add lipstick, you could do that. You could, they have this thing where you can do wet lips, where you can make the lips look a little, give them a little shine. So I don't think she needs any lipstick, but we'll just go ahead and wetten the lips up a little bit. So we run that. Where did the layer go? Maybe, no, that can't be it. Okay, so let me put all of these in a group because I think that might be a problem. So I'm going to run this again. Yeah, it was. Okay. So anyway, so now we're going to paint over her lips. But something is not working right because that should not be, what it's done is it's created a stamp layer. I'm just going to remove that. I'll figure this out later, and then I'll do a little short video of explaining what I missed or maybe I got confused on. But anyway, nothing is 100%, and you will make mistakes. The key to it is when you make a mistake that you're able to look at the mistake and figure it out and then move forward from there. Okay, anyway. People blowing up my phone this morning. All right, so then we have our hair. You can do a hair enhancing. You can do dodging and burning to the hair. So that means you can darken the dark areas and you can add a little bit of light to the lighter areas. So if you run, hopefully this will work. So let's say if we ran this dodge and burn for the hair. Now this is in white, so then your layer here is going to be black. We're going to grab our brush and you're going to switch back and forth between these two. Now if you open this folder, you can see that there is dodge and burn. So you could actually go to either of these, but usually I think what they want you to do is just paint on this layer mask here. So usually white is dodge and black is burn. So this is black now. Let's just see. So if I start painting in here, you can see it's making this dark area very, very dark. Like down in here in the hair. And then if I switch that to white, then if I go over her highlights, I can bring those highlights out more. And we turn it on and off. Yeah. So anyway, guys, like I said, I just want to do a really quick little video today to experiment with this live thing on Facebook because evidently I couldn't get it right last night, or there was something going on with Facebook itself, because I tried it in multiple browsers as well as 2 different computers, and it still gave me the same error message. But, you know, who knows? All right, so hopefully this is a good start. Starting off with these panels. In the future, you know, obviously I'll go through these a little bit more in detail. And we're, you know, you guys can ask questions, and, you know, I'll try and, you know, follow along as best I can. You know, maybe if the numbers grow large enough that, you know, we can actually have someone who can actually answer the questions or feed questions to me as I'm editing at the same time. And, you know, we can just kind of play with this stuff, and everyone can kind of learn together. Don't forget that, like I said, I created a group. So if you join the group, there will be content, you know, on a weekly basis being posted in that group. And you guys are welcome to post your photos as well, or even post photos that you may have questions about. You know, like, say, for instance, if you have a question about how you could fix something, and if you can explain what it is you're trying to fix, you know, hopefully someone can walk you through it step by step, how to do it. Or if I see it and, you know, I'm able to, you know, help you in some way, I'd be more than happy to do that as well. All right, guys, so I'm going to bring this video to an end, and I will see you guys in the next. So take care of yourself. Peace. Stay safe. I'm out.